Hello, everybody. Hi, Team Horner. I am Adrienne Falcone Godsell, Food Whisperer here in Tampa, Florida. Shout out to Aquacal people, by the way. How's it going? We have a wonderful recipe that we are going to play around with today for you. I'm all about meals and minutes. I'm all about finding tasty ways to make things good for you and simple, all in one shot. So you should have the recipe. I did print that out for you and send it over. And we're going to go through it right now. Now, this recipe is made for 4 people. You can easily make it for 2. And you would just cut all of the ingredients in half and it will work perfectly fine that way. This is a dairy-free recipe. We are going to be using boneless, skinless chicken breast, spinach, fresh spinach. I don't think it'll work with frozen. Way too much work by the sides on this one. Fresh tomatoes. And we're going to use coconut milk instead of dairy, heavy cream. However, if you want to use heavy cream, by all means. I don't remember where I found this recipe and adjusted it, but I believe the original recipe did have it. So this recipe is paleo using the coconut cream, and it is definitely keto because we are only using spinach and tomatoes. I probably have a little bit more spinach in it just because I'm all about the veggie side of thing, and I know that you have to watch that with keto. However, this is what I'm doing. You can always cut back. I welcome your questions. We are going to do question and answer period afterwards. This is my home kitchen. As you can see, I do not have a fancy updated kitchen. We haven't gotten that far yet with things. So super simple. You don't have to have fancy equipment. I do get questions quite often as far as cookware, knives, things like that. This pan is actually, I don't even know, 50 years old probably. It was my parents'. I'm 52. Well, I'll be 52 next week. But I've had this for so long. When I have something that works, I stick with it. So whatever you have, that's what you're using. You don't have to go out and be buying all sorts of anything for this recipe, okay? So let's get started. I do have everything prepped in order to make this time efficient for us. We have 1 pound of chicken. And I'm going to bring this a little closer to you just because you're probably like, Adrienne, what's going on here? So I have my cutting board, right? I took the bag that the chicken was in. I've also taken the paper that it was wrapped in. I'm using that on top of my cutting board so I don't have a big, gooey chicken mess that I have to clean up afterwards. I hate that. I don't know about you, but if there's a cooking hack that I can give to you, that's one of them. So what I did was I had 1 pound of chicken breasts. I cut them in half. You could get chicken cutlets. You can also use chicken tenders. I put salt, pepper, and dried basil on these chicken breasts. Okay, so that is ready for us. I also, as far as honoring time, I have minced my garlic already. I do that on top of salt and a little bit of crushed red pepper. The salt absorbs the oil. I'm not sure if you might actually be able to see that. Check that out, right? So that means more flavor. Yum. And I did already slice up my spinach. I chopped it with my handy dandy cleaver. One of my favorite cooking utensils that I have. I have my dried basil. And look at this adorable, adorable little baby basil plant. I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep it alive. I'm probably going to put it in my husband's hands just because. It's non-GMO, it's organic, yes, and this is the fresh basil that we're going to be using. I know that in my recipe, I said to use just a small can of the coconut cream. Today, I could not find the baby cans of coconut cream. Apparently, everybody's using them. So I have a very large can of coconut cream today. And it says cream. If you can't find coconut cream, get the coconut milk, and you'll just skim the coconut cream off the top to use in place of heavy cream. Okay, and I have my crushed tomatoes. So I had already turned my burner on because I put it on medium. Always cook your food, your meats on medium. That way they will not become carcinogenic. There is something called AGEs. That is what makes the meat carcinogenic. By heating and cooking your meat on medium, you won't have that happen. Same on the grill. Understand, nothing like grill marks on meat, having that beautiful X's on your meat. But as far as those that are concerned, that's your culinary tip on that one. Okay, so when I say heat your pan until you can feel the heat on it, Right now I'm feeling the heat radiating from the pan. You do not put your hand on the pan itself. You're just putting it over the saute pan. So I'm going to add my oil, la la la. And then I am going to add my chicken. So we're going to put this face down. Hear that nice saute going on right there? Everything's cooking perfectly. Absolutely fabulous. So how's everybody been dealing with our graduating lockdowns throughout everything? Are you happy that you're able to be getting out? Are you still kind of nervous about things? Wondering what you're doing about your health? I have a raw chicken hand. So what do I need to do? I need to wash this with soap and water right away. So that I am doing. That is your viewpoint for a minute here. So we don't need to be passing our salmonella on to anybody here, do we? Especially even here at the house. Another reason why I chose this recipe is because it's so rich in antioxidants and immune boosters. We have tomatoes, right? Rich in vitamin C. We have the spinach, which is rich in vitamin C. That also has iron in it, naturally occurring iron. We have our good fats with the olive oil and the coconut oil. So we have all these different components that are just flavorful and immune boosting as well. And when we're talking antioxidants, I think I had mentioned that. The other thing that you can be happy about is that those antioxidants also help boost your immune system because that stops the inflammation from happening. So once your chicken is halfway cooked, let me see if I can, I'm gonna put this down over the chicken. You see it's cooked halfway through. I'm gonna flip that over. Look at that, we're already 5 minutes into the recipe and we're about halfway done. Yippee! Just what you need at the end of the day, right? Something fast, something simple, something tasty. Maybe you want it for lunchtime. You never know. So what's going to be happening here? Hi again. Missed you guys. Did you miss me? What's happening here is once the chicken is cooked, and actually I'm going to cook it about 2/3 of the way through because we want the flavor from the sauce to get into the chicken as well. So we'll give this about 2 minutes. Then we're going to remove the chicken. We're going to put in the garlic and the tomatoes, and we're going to slice up or chiffonade our basil. So let's do that right now. So if you have a fresh basil plant, what do you do? What's the best part of the basil to be using? You pinch off those nice little top stems. See those cute little guys? We're going to take a bunch of those and use that. And that is what's going to help the plant regrow again. So instead of taking off the entire stem of a basil plant, if that's what you're growing, just pinch off the top. And I did wash this beforehand. So we're going to take our basil, our nice fresh basil, and I'm going to put it all together. I'm taking all those stems together. And we are going to chiffonade, which means to thinly slice them. I'm going to use my handy dandy utility knife. You can use a utility knife. You can use a chef knife. Either one will work for this one. Utility means it's good for small crops, for small projects. You want this when you're chopping up your spinach, your vegetables, meat, things like that. Okay? So I have this on my cutting board. I have a nice thin slice because that's going to be added to our tomatoes. I am actually at this point going to use my cutting board just to put the chicken on. Since I'm going to be cleaning it anyhow. Come on, guys. Whoop. We're jumping out of the way here. Please feel free to be typing in questions, or you can hold on to your questions until the very end. That is your prerogative. But we will be talking about things. So there goes my chicken. I am now going to add, I'm going to put a little bit more oil in here because I want to toast my garlic just briefly. And I'm actually going to put the fresh basil in with the garlic. So there we go. I wish you could smell this right now. And yeah, the aroma is almost instantaneous. So when the garlic and basil is aromatic is when you're going to add your tomatoes as such. So it's almost like an instant tomato sauce. And to that, I do tell you to add your chicken back in. And we're gonna let that simmer for a few minutes all together. La la la, here we go. We're gonna put this back in. We're actually going to raise the heat, and there's a little bit of juice on here, so I'm gonna let all that go back in here, because that's all flavor. The more flavor we get, the better, right? I'm actually gonna raise the heat here for a moment, and we are going to add, on top of all of this, we're going to add the spinach to be wilting down. So I didn't add any water to the tomatoes, and that's because there's going to be a liquid that's going to come from your spinach wilting down. You can take your knife, and actually let's use this, because should you use the blade or should you use the back of the knife if you're going to be scraping off your cutting board? And you should use the back of your knife. Don't use your blade. Don't destroy your blades. Whatever you do, your knives are your babies. At least they're mine. So we have that in there. Cleavers you can kind of abuse a little bit. I'm going to now reduce this down to medium. I do have a simmer that's happening now, and I'm going to put the lid on. So I'm going to put the timer on for 5 minutes. Start. And I'm going to come over to your questions. Let's see, we're on chat. Oh, hi and welcome. Do I have a question, anybody? Let me see. B, were you asking something? Let's open you up for questions. Anybody have any questions? If not, I will ramble on about some more food facts for you. Okay, so you found the recipe. Good. What else? Anything else happening that I need to know about? What other flavors can you do with this? What can you do to be changing the seasonings? Well, one thing you could do is you could use salsa instead of crushed tomatoes, and then I would use oregano instead of basil. So you can do that. Would I change the greens? I wouldn't change the greens because no other green, whether it's kale, chard, even dinosaur kale, collards, they're all going to take much longer to cook. So I would definitely stick with just using the spinach in this. Can you use dairy? Of course you can use dairy. And that's what we're going to add at the very end because we just want it to be creamy. If we add it now, there's a really strong chance that you will have the dairy or the coconut cream stick on the bottom of the pan. And I don't know how many people actually want to be scrubbing pots and pans at the end of the day. Whether you're working from home, whether you're working out of the home and coming home to cook, if cooking is already something that is a challenge for you, why do you want to be cleaning afterwards? At least that's what I think of. Let's see. Can you also use crushed or diced tomatoes? Crushed tomatoes, yes, that's what we are using. You can certainly use diced tomato. You have that creamy tomato basil chicken thing going on. No, it'll be a little bit more chunky. You can certainly use diced tomato, and you can even use fresh tomatoes. Roma tomatoes are really the best. Dice those up, and then you're going to toss that all together that way. So yes, you can definitely have options when it comes to what you're doing with your tomatoes. You can also use tomato sauce if you want to. If you don't want to if you can't find a small can for 2 of crushed tomatoes, which I know can be difficult right now, you can get a jar of tomato sauce, whatever flavor you want, and you can use that instead. So again, possibilities are endless. Back to the whole salsa thing, you could do salsa and jalapenos. Put some fresh jalapenos in at the very end, slice those up kind of thin. Even with the seeds, I would do that just because it would look really pretty that way, right? So let's look at our chicken here. We have a nice simmer going on. I'm going to point you back over to the pan here for a minute. Let me see if I can get you closer so you can see exactly what I'm doing here. And I'm going to actually stir up that spinach. The chicken is cooked. The spinach is wilting. And now we are going to add our coconut cream. So if you're using a can, I believe that the small cans of coconut cream are 5 ounces, maybe they're 7 ounces. But you really don't need that much because we're just going for that good mouthfeel, that good creamy, fatty goodness that comes with it. I don't even know how else to explain it. This way we have our tomato basil. So look at that. We are all set. Super pretty, super colorful. Ta-da! And your dinner is ready. Prep time, let me see, how much prep time did this take for me? I think prep time, it probably took me about 7 minutes. Because more just chopping up the spinach. So I had to chop up the spinach. I diced up, I minced up the garlic. So maybe give you 7 minutes for that, and in 15 minutes your dinner is cooked. What could be better than that? I really don't know. I'm gonna look and see if there's any more questions here. Fresh tomatoes. Could I make this with fish or shrimp? Totally. Totally we can make this with fish or shrimp. If we are making it with fish or shrimp, it will take a lot less time because you're just going to be flash searing the fish. The same with the shrimp, it won't take too long. I might even suggest adding everything at once. So instead of waiting for the chicken to get cooked all the way, then I would put in the fish or the shrimp along with the tomatoes at the same time. And we have another question. Let's see. Do you recommend any ready-made minced garlic, and if so, what brands? Oh, to be completely honest with you, I don't like minced garlic. Peeled garlic, yes. But as far as minced garlic, I would go with granulated garlic before I went with minced garlic, in my opinion, flavor-wise. I can understand if you don't want to deal with minced garlic, and some people actually, the garlic and the onion also just really soaks into their skin and they can't get rid of it for a while. So I would just use granulated garlic and sprinkle the chicken breasts with it. And then once you, or the fish, the shrimp, and then once you make the sauce, then I would sprinkle things in that way. Okay, so let's see, we have another question that's come in. How long to cook the chicken breast safely through in the pan? You watched me. So like I said, I used chicken breast that I cut in half. So it's like a chicken cutlet. So literally probably 3 minutes on each side. And then because we're going to be putting it back into the tomato sauce and the spinach while it wilts. So it's going to finish cooking that way. Super fast. If you're using whole breasts, you definitely need 7 to 12 minutes. Again, I just had a pound of breasts, sliced them in half. So I have 4 servings. That's 4 ounces each for everybody. And that's the way I did it. Okay. What else? No more questions? Well, here we go. We're at our time mark here. If anybody has any more questions, I am still hanging out waiting for you. Got a few more minutes to do this. But really, there are lots of simple recipes out there for you to be making. And if I can help you with that, I'd love to do that. You're welcome, Kim. If I can help you do that, you can find me on Instagram under I Am the Face Whisperer. On Facebook, my page is The Food Whisperer. Thank you, Diane. You can email me and ask me questions. I can totally walk you through in-home cooking lessons, do meals in minutes just like this for you. I do have another book that I'm working on right now called Meals in Minutes. It's going to have 32 recipes, very similar. This is actually one of them that you can do that come with grocery lists. So anything you need, you can find me, like I said, Facebook, The Food Whisperer, LinkedIn, under my name, Adrienne Falcone Godcell, Instagram, afalconegodcell@gmail.com. Also, my website is holisticcheftampa.com. Easy ways to find me all over the place. At least I hope so. Did I miss any? Oops. Sorry. Did I miss any questions? Yes, you can definitely email Diane or Kim for my contact information as well. And I hope you have a fabulous day. Stay healthy, stay active, and stay flavorful. Adrienne Falcon Godsell, the Food Whisperer, Tampa, Florida. Bye, everybody. See you next time, Team Horner. Bye-bye.